So even if I don't agree with, for example, no refunds, certainly that's a business's choice, right?
Oh, yeah,
Right. But here's the point that puzzled me, and I don't know enough yet, but the part that puzzled me was that he said she owned the gun and then applied for the background check. And I wasn't aware that people in Colorado own the guns until after the background. But he said, no, she was the owner, and then she applied for the background and then was turned down. So now she has to sell the gun or get rid of it. But if she's the owner of that gun, he can't let her have it yet. So what if she wanted someone else to sell it for no consignment fee? I wonder if he would allow someone else to sell that. Mike, that's a good thing to ask Gunsmoke. Would he allow someone else to sell that gun for her if she wanted someone else to pick it up? Because apparently she owns it, right?
Right before I hung up with Rich, he did think he had someone who called in that wants to buy that firearm.
Really? So, okay. But what Jim is saying, this caller, is that he doesn't believe you own the gun until after it's approved, right? Is that what you're saying, Jim?
I've never, unless things have changed in the last 3 years.
It's possible they could have changed. Again, I was waiting to get more feedback on that to find out, but thanks for your comments. Okay. Chris called in with a comment on that gun purchase. Go ahead, Chris. What is it?
Hey, I just want to say, Tom, long-time listener.
Yes, sir.
I've been buying guns for a long time.
Yes.
I've never, ever had a gun dealer that made me pay for the gun before I purchased it. It cost them nothing to run a background check on me.
Well, even if it costs them, I don't mind them charging you for that. But you're telling me, but he told me that when you go to his store, you buy the gun, then they do the check. And if you don't get approved, you still own the gun, and you either get your money back, you don't get your money back. You have to sell the gun, and they sell it for you, or you don't, or that's it, done.
You know, long ago I did buy a gun, and I was refused. I didn't own the gun.
Well, it might have changed. I don't know what the new system is, Chris, and that's what I'm going to look into. I'm really going to look into it. Jim? Jim hung up. Okay, we have more coming up on the Troubleshooter Show. Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. I'm getting a lot of instant messages about Gunsmoke. Now, I want to tell you, I don't know. I haven't purchased a gun recently. I don't know. This guy says I've purchased 5 firearms in the past 9 months. 2 from Gander Mountain, 2 from Sportsman Warehouse, and 1 from Big R in Elizabeth. In each instance, I did not even pay for the weapon until after the instant background check was approved. I don't know what Gunsmoke is saying. How can they possibly own the weapon before there is a background check, since state law says you cannot sell a gun to someone until there is an approved background check? Here's another instant message.
Well, Tom, we're waiting to hear. I left a message for Joe Clayton. He's the agent in charge of the instant check unit with CBI.
Here's another one. Tom, I think Gunsmoke is blowing smoke as well. It sounds like they just want to keep the money and give her a hard time. Even if the lady lied on the application, that's no reason to keep her money. Now, these are people who are gun buyers saying, here's another one. Tom, I have purchased firearms, and I never pay before the background check is completed. Now, apparently, Gunsmoke collects the money first, then does the background check, and if you fail, they say you own the gun, and the only way to get your money is to let us sell it for you and take a commission. That's what he's saying. Listen, I don't know what's right or wrong, but I'm just telling you what other gun buyers are saying to me. They're saying that it's bogus and that he's just trying to keep the money. And he did offer to help her. He did offer to help her get that background check fixed if, in fact, it was inaccurate. But still, Kyle, what's your opinion? Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, you technically cannot transfer that ownership of the firearm from a seller to a buyer at a gun store in Colorado until that background check has been approved.
I have it on the air where he said she owned the gun first, then did the background check.
And he's in violation.
Well, I don't know if he is, but we're going to find out because I took him at his word. He says, no, in Colorado, you have to be the buyer. And so I said, she bought the gun? And he said, yes. And then he says, now I can sell it for her. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. But, hey, I don't know the gun business. We'll explore this and more. I'm troubleshooter Tom Martino. But I have to warn people of something. If you go on websites and you see my logo on there, please double check it. Don't assume that they're part of our effort because there are many people misusing that, and I need you to confirm that. Don't get mad at us. Mike gets calls once in a while saying, I got this person, and they said they were part of blah, blah, blah. And we say, well, did you check? And they say, well, no. Well, you got to check. Hey, we have a very serious case that came up with Gunsmoke, a gun dealer. And he does concealed carry classes. And it was a controversy. And I let Rich Wyatt have his say completely. In fact, I said he's probably right. And in the initial phone call, I questioned him not. I took everything he said as gospel. Now, Mike, is the new information different than what we had downstairs?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is not a requirement, as Rich Wyatt told us. It is a sleazy business practice.
What
Rich
is?
Wyatt left that out. Telling people, oh, yeah, you purchased the gun before your background check. It's basically a business practice as far as we're able to find out there's one store doing it, which happens to be Gunsmoke. Then they're able to hold someone who fails to pass the background check to a 20%
hostage. Here's what I want to tell you.
Yesterday we heard from Bass Pro's shop, Big Five, every major dealer.
I want to say this. We have not only talked to every major gun dealer, we talked to CBI. And our sources at CBI said that if anyone broke the law, it was probably Gunsmoke by claiming he sold the gun and they own it before the background check. Now, did you ask Rich Wyatt to come back on the air?
Yes, I did leave a message before the show with the shop, and have not heard back yet.
Now, I want to mention something, okay? Rich Wyatt and I had it out once before when he sold a spot in his concealed carry class, and the guy changed his mind, and Rich wouldn't give the money back, and I thought that was silly. But Rich had a right to do it, but I thought it was silly and stupid. I never said it was illegal or unethical, just stupid. That's all I said. This was a while ago. And Rich says, well, once I have a seat sold, that's it, you know. And he wouldn't give a refund no matter what to this concealed carry class. No matter what. Would not do it. And then he said, the guy changed his mind. And I said, but could you resell that seat? And he said, probably. And I said, well, then what's the big deal? But the guy didn't want to do it. Now this comes up. And I gave him every bit of respect. We have that original phone call on tape. And I said, Rich, explain to me what's going on. And he said, well, first of all, to do the background check, you have to own the gun. We sold her the gun. She owns the gun. And I said, but she didn't pass the background check. And he said, I know. And we will resell that gun for her. According to CBI, that is not the way it's supposed to be. He said, if anything, that guy, Rich Wyatt or Gunsmoke, broke the law by allowing them to own the gun first. So you can't have it both ways. But Rich Wyatt at Gunsmoke is claiming that this woman owns the gun, lied on the application. And by the way, she may have lied. It may have been a message. She may have lied. And what's really weird is that has nothing to do with this. Because she didn't own the gun. According to CBI, by law, she could not own the gun until after the background check. And every major gun manufacturer said they will never charge for a gun ever before the background check is passed. Ever. And if people do not pass a background check, they will never charge someone for the gun. But Rich Wyatt at Gunsmoke says he charged her for the gun, she owns the gun, and the only way she can get her money back is if he sells the gun and he takes 20%. Now, this is the information I'm getting from CBI, and this is the information I'm getting from every other major gun dealer we've checked with. That's all I'm saying. I took him at gospel truth. I am not disputing it. I'm not in the business. I don't know this business. I promise you, I do not have a dog in this fight. I said, in fact, I was trying to convince the woman yesterday, if you heard the call, that Rich was right. He was right. But instead, I got other calls, and we checked directly with CBI, the one in charge of the background checks, who said that Gunsmoke is wrong. Let's bring up Rich White. Hi, Rich. How are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Go ahead, sir. I'm just finding out information. I truly do not know what the right answer is. I'm telling you that straight up. I am hearing from this guy and that guy, and I'm hearing from you.
Okay, I could tell you when CBI initiated the background check, and I don't remember how many years ago this was.
Okay.
It was going into effect the next day. So, or that day or something. I don't remember which. So I called them up and I ran myself, just to see how the process worked and to try it. And so when customers came in, I wasn't caught off guard.
Okay.
And the guy ripped me for doing it.
Why?
He said, you're not allowed to do a background check unless there's been a purchase of a firearm. So now the new forms that the federal government has out, which is called a 4473 form, says the first question on the questionnaire is, are you the actual buyer of this gun?
Well, do they mean the potential buyer, technically?
No, and here's why, and I've confirmed this with my attorney.
Making sure there's not a straw purchase.
Yeah, it's not a straw purchase, and it's not. And the other thing is, if you're going to charge the person with committing a felony of trying to purchase the gun, if they could say, "Oh no, I wasn't trying to buy a gun. I just wanted to see if I could pass a background check," then that would be an out for the crime. They also, my attorney has told me, and I believe this to be true. Matter of fact, I've heard this on your show before. I believe, Tom, that if you don't have financial consideration with a contract, it's not a consummation of the contract.
So, Rich, what you're telling me is that in order to do the background check, your understanding of the law is they must own the gun.
They must purchase the gun. That's right.
Okay, so they must own the gun. Yet, you're not allowed to own a gun unless...
You can't take delivery of it until you pass the background check.
But you can own it.
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore, then, that woman owns that gun.
That is correct.
So I can go and pick it up for her.
No, you can't.
Why?
That's a felony. That's called a straw man purchase. If another person comes and tries to do the background check for person B, then
okay, I understand. I understand.
And they actually, the ATF, goes into.
Listen, I understand. You don't have to explain that. I understand that. I understand exactly what you're saying. And you can't do a background check, and then when you fail, say, well, then it's for my friend. I understand that. Now, let me ask you this.
I told you that you don't have to buy the gun?
No, here's what they told us, and I'll tell you that in a second. But I wanted to ask you something under your scenario, and then I'll tell you exactly what they told us. Okay. Under your scenario, then, you said, hey, I will, if this woman truly failed her background check, I will sell this gun for her, and I will take 20% for doing it.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, what if she says, you know what, Rich, I have a gun dealer who'll do it for 5%. Can you then take that gun over to the other dealer and let him sell it?
Absolutely. She could transfer it from licensee to licensee. And that other dealer,
so in other words, you are for real when you say if she wants someone else to sell it who's a licensed gun broker, they can do it.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you talked to her. I spoke to her at great length yesterday, and she's supposed to come in today.
Okay.
She apologized to me yesterday.
For what?
For what she's done. And we had a long discussion. I'd never met her, and she said, I was just trying to get my gun. I said, you know what, if you were trying to get your gun, why didn't you just do the things we told you to do?
Right. And you did say, you did offer to help her. But see, Rich, now it's beyond that. Now, because really what came up got the attention of a lot of people, and it really goes beyond this purchase because you say the way you do business is you take money first, you sell the gun, then you do the background check to see if they can take possession of it.
That's exactly right.
I understand that.
Now,
other gun dealers say that is not proper.
Okay, well, you know what? Here's the thing. I guess anybody can do whatever they want to do.
Right.
And some guys sell crack cocaine. It's not legal, but they do it. All right. And a lot of gun dealers are borderline suspect anyway, in my mind.
Okay.
Okay. And so what you got now is a bunch of people